Hi, welcome to the Coaching Game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and tonight my guest is Cheryl Friscia. Welcome, Cheryl.
Thank you.
Cheryl, I think we decided that Cheryl was on the show. She was on Coach World TV about 4 years ago. And boy, does she have a lot of stuff to tell you. And that's why I'm so thrilled to have her back. She's been going through a lot of changes, and she's back in the city, so I called her the minute she came in and said, come be on the show. Let me tell you a little bit about the game. The coaching game is based on points of view, the coaching game, and this was developed in Israel. The purpose of the game is really to bring right brain and left brain thinking together, and they do that with 65 cards with exquisite photography. And captions that may or may not fit the photography. It's kind of interesting how it works. And Cheryl just told me she had the game, and she's using it also. And there's a bunch of ways to use it. But what we're going to do tonight is just kind of talk to Cheryl. She chose a couple of cards, and one of which is Journey. So we're going to start with Cheryl. First, thank you so much, because I know you just moved to the city, and I bet there's other things you could be doing. But I appreciate you being here. Tell me, how did you get into coaching in the first place?
It was interesting. Quite a number of years ago, I was trying to find, I knew there was something more that I needed to be doing, and I was actually watching one of the morning shows, and they had a certified coach on the show. And I listened to her speaking, and I listened to what she was doing, and knew that was what I wanted. So I went and enrolled in a program, and I spent a year and a half or so becoming a certified coach, and it's actually helped me in more areas of my life than I ever imagined it would.
Thought, yeah. So you didn't take one of those weekend courses where it's like, okay, 3 hours and go out there and coach.
I did not. Yes. I did not. I spent a significant amount of time. Yes.
What were you doing before that? Were you? Did you feel dissatisfaction? That's what happened to me. It's like, oh, I hate everything I'm doing.
Well, yeah. You go through. I was a single mom, raised my kids, and I was working, and you're just kind of going through the motions. And I was in corporate America, and corporate America has its challenges.
Yes.
And so, yes, I was feeling a little bit kind of dissatisfied with where I was at. And one of the things I always told my kids as they were growing up is, make sure you do what you love. And I wasn't living that.
Good advice.
I wasn't living that. And so that's kind of what moved me towards coaching.
Wow. And well, I know when I had you on Coach World TV, which was the ICF television show, you were doing, I thought it was a fascinating thing. You were helping students determine, and it was like, where were you when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be? Helping students determine what they wanted to do, with their lives, and not necessarily go into college, but if they did, what did they want to pursue? And so, did you do any other kind of coaching?
I did. Well, I spent that whole summer and that fall, I spent a lot of time working with students. And as I mentioned to you, I had done a group coaching session down at a local university here in the city, and I used the points of view game, and it was amazing what it brought out in the kids, and not really kids, young adults. Really made them think about things that they didn't even realize. And it really brought up a lot of conversation amongst the kids, and it was great. So I had a really great time doing that. I also used it a lot on my own kids. My kids today are 25 and 27, and they have gone through their own life changes and finding their careers and figuring out what they want to do. And so I coach them daily. Sometimes they don't even realize that I'm doing it. So it's just a great tool.
Yeah, I thank you. Yeah, I love it too. And I'm always amazed at the results. It's like, how's this going to work? And it's like, just sit back, it'll work. And I don't understand, but I'm sure there's studies that have been done, how pictures just break down that extra wall of protection. For some reason, we all can go, oh, okay, 2 hands, which is the journey. Okay, what is that? And it just takes your mind on another level. So tell us what's been going on with you, because the journey, you've been on one.
I certainly have been. So, back in 2011 when we last met, I left corporate America and I thought I was going to do all these great things and work with young adults and do all this coaching. And life had another plan for me.
As it often does, yes.
It certainly did. So I spent some time doing that. And I did go back into the corporate world. But I went back into it with a completely different mindset. After being out, I used my coaching a lot in my work life, in my professional life. And then last year, I was diagnosed with kidney disease, something that I never expected in my life. And it changes your whole world. And the coaching really came into play for me. And I never realized how much it would do that for me. So it was really great. It helped me see where I was at. It helped me to keep things as positive as I could. It's not a positive experience, but it made me slow down, and it made me think about what was really important in my life. And it's something that I think prior to becoming a coach, I would not have been able to do. I was a very type A, corporate, driven professional.
Here's the plan, here are the steps.
Right, exactly.
Let's get it on. Yeah.
Exactly, and don't get in my way, because and this makes you, and this whole experience made me stop and, this is life. This is what, these are the experiences that we have, and I had to go along with it. So the coaching helps me keep a really good perspective, and it helped me just kind of slow down.
Did it help you? Because I have had similar situations, but I've been the caretaker for people. And did it help you deal with the medical profession and all of the boogaboos that are involved, and the insurance companies? Although I don't even mention them, but
yes.
Did it help you? Did it help you in that aspect also?
It did. I guess to start, I was very fortunate. I had a wonderful, wonderful doctor up in Connecticut when I was first diagnosed. But doctors, he was very great at what he did, but doctors don't always talk. So, I had to do a lot of research, and I had to be very patient, and I had to meet him where he was at.
Interesting.
He had a job that he was doing, and I had to let him do it. And, and I asked questions along the way. In dealing with, there were some frustrations with the insurance companies, and it's it's having that patience and trying to keep it in perspective. So, and even, being in the hospital at one point, dealing with the doctors and the nurses, and you have people constantly coming in and out of your room and poking you with needles, and just remaining very calm and remembering that they're doing a job, and they're doing it for you.
Yeah, that's a good attitude.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be here if I wasn't here. So how did you deal with yourself? Because that's scary. When you say kidney disease, it's like, that's a functional organ. We need that a lot. So how did you deal with that? How did coaching help you deal with that?
So in the first few months, I think like many people who are suddenly diagnosed with any kind of a disease, it's you go through this period of shock. And then you have the pity party.
It's required. You gotta have a pity party.
You have to have a pity party. But what I did, I had a pity party for a couple of months. But what I did was about a month or so into it, I realized that being sad is okay, but I felt that I would never get better or get on that path to getting better if I didn't change my focus and didn't change my attitude. So I gave myself a time period, and it was really hard to do that.
I love that.
I gave myself 2 months to have a pity party.
It's a long part.
And it was a long one, but
as long as you're having fun.
Yeah. So, but after that 2-month period, it was like that was it. And it's not to say that you don't go through moments where you're feeling sad or overwhelmed, but after that point, I knew that I had to move forward in some way, so that I could get better. I had to do what the doctor said. I had to change my diet. I had to take my medication. I had to get up and go to work every day.
You worked through this whole thing.
I had to work through the whole thing,
Wow.
which was not easy. I'm single and living on my own now, and so somebody had to pay the bills.
Who cares? I have much bigger things to deal with. Yeah.
But working did two things for me. Working not only paid the bills, and kept the money coming in, but working also helped me stay in a positive emotional state.
Really?
It was really important, and it's not to say that I was working, at my best all the time, but it helped me stay positive. It helped me to move forward, and a lot of that was the coaching, just the coaching mindset, to know that I had to remember every day that this was part of the process, and I had to slow down, and I had to just go through it, because there's no other choice. You don't have a choice. It's something it's out of your control, and for a lot of us, control can be difficult.
Freaks, yes.
Control can be difficult, and you're suddenly at the will of life and doctors, and so the coaching played a tremendous part in me getting better. It played a part in me moving forward, and remembering that this was part of the journey.
Yeah. It's interesting. Did you at any time, because I will do this occasionally if I'm in the middle of chaos, and I usually am. And it's like, okay, just stop. What would you tell your client? Did you ever do that? It's like, okay, what would you tell someone else in my situation? Because I find it's hard when you're in the middle of madness, to think rationally about yourself, So it's like, okay, what would I tell you if you were going through what I was going through? Was that a trick, or what tricks did you develop to get you through?
Yeah, I did that, and the one trick that I had to use was during the whole process of going through the treatment, I gained a significant amount of weight, and you don't realize how difficult that is. Forget the physical part of it, but the emotional piece of it.
Yeah.
You look different, you feel different.
But this was a result of the meds that you had to take,
Yes,
right?
yes. It was a result of the medication that I had to take. It would have happened to anybody. But you have to remember who you are as a person, and it was fine with the people that knew me. The people that knew me didn't care. Their attitude was, you're getting better,
right?
And and that's what's the most important. It's the people that don't know you. It's the strangers on the street. It's the and it's interesting how that plays on your mind. It's how people look at you differently, especially in the corporate world. People, you're perceived differently. And it was really, really difficult, because I knew that I was the same person on the inside. I had not changed. It was my physical appearance that changed. And throughout the process, I had to keep giving myself that positive self-talk, because that kind of kept me going, because I would get very frustrated that like these people that didn't know me you could see the judgment, you could hear it sometimes in the tone, and it was really difficult. And so you have to keep that positive self-talk going, saying to yourself, I am who I am. And it helped significantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be like for because we often don't think of that. We think, okay, like, you've been diagnosed with some kind of illness. And yet, I know one of the hardest things, and cancer is the one that makes us all tremble and we go, oh, please. But the hardest thing for people who have cancer is the loss of their hair. And you go, oh, that's so vain. Who cares about your hair? But of course,
absolutely.
Explain that. It's like, you know that internally what's more important, but it's like the physical aspect. Is that, how can we care about that?
You know, I think that comes back to our own confidence and our own self-esteem and our own, when your appearance changes, it really puts that to test. And it's a good test in some ways, because it teaches you humility. So, you know, losing your hair or your appearance changing is a huge, huge deal. But, you know, if everybody was able to do it, if they were able to just take a step back and just remind themselves every time of who they are on the inside, that's who you are. It doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. And it really, for anybody, regardless of your level of self-confidence, it puts you to test.
So, and was it a lasting effect for you? I mean, once you got over that hump of like, oh my God, I'm gaining weight and there's nothing I can do, was it a lasting effect that you said, okay, I am who I am no matter what's going on the outside? I'm still Cheryl?
Yes.
So that still walks with you today?
Yes.
Oh, so
yes, absolutely.
That's a valuable lesson.
It was a tremendous lesson for me, because, you know, like I said, every day you have to remind yourself, I am who I am on the inside. And I'm that same person today that I was a year ago.
Actually,
but
probably a little stronger, a little wiser.
Definitely a little wiser. You know, I certainly know more about my kidneys than I've ever known in my life. Yes, definitely a little wiser. But again, it teaches you humility. And I will always look at somebody else who might be in a similar situation, and now have that empathy for them and understand where they're coming from, and that they too have to get up and go to work and function. And it's not easy. It's not easy.
No. So humility is a valuable asset to add to your personal toolkit. And it's like
Absolutely. I think both personally and professionally, I think it's a valuable toolkit, because I think that having that humility in the workplace is really helpful for me too, because there's a lot of personalities. There's a lot that goes on in the workplace.
And it probably puts all the corporate foolishness in politics and games into perspective.
It puts it in perspective.
That's actually why I got out of corporate, because it was like I was becoming a person. I'm a good player, I can play, but I hated myself. It's like, what am I doing here? But I was thinking what a treasure you will be to your clients, because you've had all this experience. So tell us how you are right now.
Today I'm doing well. Still, being treated for kidney disease is a lifelong process. But I'm in a much better place. Thanks.
But you're not looking for a transplant or any kind of donation?
No transplants. Okay. So I'm very excited about that, and I have some wonderful doctors taking care of me, and I'm ready to move my life forward. And when I started to feel better, I decided that it was time to make some tremendous life changes. So I sold my house.
Play around. It's like, I want to change everything.
Yes. Yeah, I don't play games.
No, straightforward. Let's go.
So I sold my house
in Connecticut. Yeah. And did what's almost impossible, move back to New York City. I still can't believe she found a great apartment. It's like, and I see it on Facebook you have every day. Aw. Did the house have memories, or were you just proud of yourself that you did it?
I was very proud.
Yeah, that's a big move. I mean, I don't know if I'd have the wherewithal to do it. And, you know, I've moved so many times, and it's like, no, this time you're going to have to dynamite me, or if there's a fire, maybe I'll leave. But so good for you.
Yeah.
And you came to the most challenging city in the world. So what do you want to find in New York City? What drew you back? 'Cause you were
I
here.
think what drew me back to New York City was many things. One, which people think it's kind of funny, but quality of life.
I know so many people who would fight with you on that. What?
They would, but you know, living in Connecticut and commuting into New York or New Jersey, you know, where I've worked, you know, you're talking commuting 3, 4, 5 hours a day plus working. You don't realize how it takes a toll on your quality of life. So being here in the city and having the world at my fingertips is tremendous. And it's about taking care of me too.
Yeah.
So that and opening the doors to other opportunities, you know, doing the coaching and being down here in an environment where there's lots of people that need and want coaching. There's, you know, so. It's just been a wonderful experience so far, and I've just started.
That's fantastic. Now, are you working in Connecticut now? You're not doing a reverse
No,
commute,
I'm actually working right in New Jersey,
okay.
right over the bridge. So
okay, that works.
So it's certainly much easier than it was, but you know, I'm home by 5:30 every day, and I get to enjoy the city and you know, and everything that it has to offer.
You'll see Cheryl's email on the bottom, and ask if you can join her Facebook page. She has the best pictures of New York City, and I love it because it's like a child looking at New York City. It's like, oh, I love this, and it's like, yeah, I remember, I love that too, and it was like, okay, this is really kind of cool. So you're having fun. So what's in the future for you? What do you want to do with your coaching now? What are you going to do with it? I mean, I know it got you through a lot of stuff.
Yes.
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. So. You know, being down here in the city, you know, I'm hoping to open more of those doors of opportunity and get back into the coaching more so, not only just with the young adults who are moving forward in their lives and trying to figure it all out, but I think for me, also working with people that might be in similar situations that I was in, where they're you know, that have a disease or they're going through something major in their life, but still have to function and still have to move forward. So I think it's you know, help bring that perspective for me too, and you know, we'll see where it goes.
There's a fantastic philosophy, and it's like, give your purpose a pain. I mean, give your pain a purpose. Your purpose a pain. Give your pain a purpose, and it's simply that we're all going to go through something. It's called life, and you know, it's not going to go as planned. And so when you're in that situation, you know, get through it and do what you have to do, but then give it a purpose, you know. And I think that I think you've learned so many lessons, and you've persevered. We chose that card too. I chose that for her actually, but she liked it. It's perseverance, and then we also have choice, and I think we've talked about a lot of choices that she made, you know. And I know people who if they got a diagnosis would just go, okay, that's it. I've had a long life, you know. My kids are raised. We'll see whatever. But you decided, nope, I'm not giving it in that easy. So, but it's like, so I think you would be outstanding in, like you said, humility and empathy. It's like, wow. Because once you've been there, and I have been like taking care of people, it's like in the doctor and the whole medical system, it's like, okay, I feel your pain, I know what you need, I know some of the problems you're going to. So good for you. I think I love what you're doing with the kids, but I think this is going to add a whole new dimension to that whole thing. What is one of the biggest challenges that you think you had?
I think one of the biggest challenges that I had was while I was going through all of this and working, you know, trying to stay productive, and it was really difficult some days to really be productive, and being productive is just important to me. And I had to remember sometimes that I just couldn't do it. You know, you have to take a step back. You have to sleep. You have to take care of your body. And it made me learn to take care of my body. And that was a challenge. I was not very good at that in the past. Yeah. So I think that's one of the big lessons that I've learned.
It's just that is that a priority now for you?
Yes, it is very much a priority.
And how easily could you fit it into that schedule that you had?
The schedule that I had, I would not have been able to fit it in.
So you altered the schedule. I like that.
I altered the schedule, yes, because I realize now we take our bodies for granted.
Until something goes wrong.
Until something goes wrong, and then you realize that you need that body.
That's how you're going to walk around, yeah?
That's right, and you have to take care of it. So I've altered my schedule. You know, I think, again, just moving into the city, cutting down the amount of time that I'm commuting, not working lots of overtime, and just taking care of me, going out for walks during the day when I have some time, just things like that, eating right. So I'm doing a lot of things that I didn't do before.
Yeah. And is that a blessing? I mean, or is it a burden?
No, it's a blessing.
Good.
It's absolutely a blessing because I think before all of this happened, I made excuses, like many people do. I made excuses for not being able to do something, for not being able to exercise or eat right, and
really, I've never done that.
and today, it's just become a part of my life. And it started because I knew I had to do that, and now it's just part of the daily routine.
And it's kind of like a reward, I guess. It's like, okay, here you're doing a lot for me, body. I'm going to do this for you.
Right. And so it kind of comes full circle. Like you take care of your body, and it starts to take care of you.
Yeah, yeah.
So. Yeah.
So when I said she's been on a journey, I was not telling a lie. And I love that you attribute coaching to some of the trials and some of the solutions that you came up with and some of the attitude adjustments, which we all use occasionally. So we only have like 45 seconds left, actually. So I would encourage people, if you want to talk to Cheryl, I'm sure she would love to have an email from you. Her email address is at the bottom. I want to thank you for being such and being so honest. It's like you have such a message that many people need to hear, and such a great attitude.
Thank you.
We salute you for coming out on the other side here with some positive plans for the future.
Thank you. Well, I hope I can share that with everybody.
I think everybody needs to hear that message. So, Cheryl Friscia, thank you so much for being on the coaching game, and I'm going to have her back real soon after she gets the coaching thing going. Thank you.